Hello, English students. Mrs. Kirchhoff here. Today is our last lesson for subject-verb agreement. These are all of the remaining rules that are just kind of randomized. Your learning target for today, I can identify the correct verb that agrees with its subject. So remember, a singular subject needs a singular verb, a plural subject needs a plural verb. However, this can get tricky when we have contractions. So the rule is contractions such as here's, there's, whose, where's, and how's, they all include the verb is, which is a singular verb, right? Here is, there is, who is, where is, how is. Those all include that singular verb is. So you do not want to use one of these contractions unless you have a singular verb that follows it. Let's take a look at an example. This is something that you hear people say all the time. Where's your friends? But that's actually incorrect because friends is plural, which means I need a plural verb, and is not a plural verb. So I should be saying, where are your friends? That would be correct if we want to have our subject in agreement with our verb. This subject-verb agreement can also be tricky when we have the contractions don't and doesn't. So don't is a contraction or abbreviation for do not. So you use don't with all plural subjects as well as the pronouns I and you. So you might think, oh, I, you, those are singular. We treat them as plural subjects when it comes to agreement. So I don't speak French well. We treat I as plural here. If you want to think about it that way, wrap your brain around it, we would use don't with the pronoun I. We don't like the snow. So we is obviously plural. We would use the contraction don't here to go along with it. Doesn't is a contraction of does not. So we use doesn't with all singular subjects except for pronouns I and you, right? Because we're using don't with those. So she doesn't like spinach. She is singular, doesn't is singular. He doesn't have time for chess club today. He and doesn't are both singular, so they're in agreement. Rules pertaining to questions as well as sentences that start with here and there can be tricky when it comes to agreement. So the rule is that in a question or in a sentence beginning with here or there, the subject follows the verb. So the sentence is sort of flip-flopped from the way that we're used to seeing it. You still need to be careful, though, that the subject and verb agree. So here's an example of a question, right? Where is the car? So the subject of my sentence is the car, right? That's the who or the what of my sentence, but it's coming at the end. So it's coming after my verb is. So both of these are singular. They are in agreement with each other. Here's another question. Why is the cat outside? So cat is my subject, but it's coming after my verb is. So cat is singular, is singular. They're in agreement with each other. Here's an example using here. Here are some sandwiches for you. So here is never my subject. My subject is coming after the verb. So I'm actually talking about sandwiches, right? That's the who, that's what I'm talking about in this sentence. That's my subject. The verb is are. So they are both plural. Sandwiches and are plural. They're in agreement. Last example, there are dark storm clouds approaching on the horizon. So there is not my subject. I'm actually talking about the storm clouds, right? So clouds is plural, are is a plural verb. So the rule says the subject follows the verb, and you see that in all of these examples. So it's just flip-flop from what we normally are used to. What do we do when it comes to titles? So the grammar rule states titles of works of art, literature, or music, even when in plural form, we treat as singular. So The Grapes of Wrath is a novel by John Steinbeck, right? The Grapes of Wrath is one book, so it's singular. We would use a singular verb is to go along with that. The Simpsons is available to stream on Disney+. So The Simpsons is a television show, right? It's one show. So we treat that as singular. We need a singular verb like is. My last example, Mozart's Starry Night painting is one of the most recognized paintings in Western art. So Starry Night is the title of my painting. It's one piece of artwork, so I treat it as singular and I use the verb is to go along with it. What do I do when I have a sentence that starts with every and many? So the grammar rule states every or many a before a subject calls for a singular verb. So these words are usually acting as adjectives or adverbs, describing something in more detail. We treat these things as singular. So take a look at this, you guys. This one's tricky. Every painting and drawing was framed well. So I have that word every at the beginning. So even though it looks like I have a compound subject, right, painting and drawing, I'm actually talking about every single painting and every single drawing, right? Each individual painting and each individual drawing was framed well. So I'm talking about them as singular. So my verb needs to be singular as well. Was is my verb. Many an artist was pleased. So I have the word many at the beginning of my sentence, which modifies how many artists I'm talking about. When I have many a or many in, it means that I treat it as singular. So many an artist is singular, and my singular verb was is in agreement with that. So if you have any questions about any of these grammar rules in relation to subject verb agreement, please do not hesitate to reach out with questions. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Good luck with your daily assignment today, and go Bears!